Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupini avatara varishthaya ramakrishnaya te namaha jananim sharadam devim ramakrishnam jagadgurum padapadme tayo sritva pranamami muhurmuhu namasri yatirajaya vivekananda surya satchit sukasvarupaya swamini tapaharini वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Now we are almost at the end of the first chapter. Arjuna had actually come to fight the Mahabharata war. Suddenly he was kind of overwhelmed by seeing the relatives and his acharyas and others arrayed on both sides. So he was advancing various arguments that he would not like to fight, rather, he would like to give up. So, one of the arguments he advanced was Utsanna Kuladharmanam Manushyanam Janardana Narake Niyatam Vasu Bhavati Tanushruma. You are saying that, you see, we have heard that residence in hell awaits those people, the religious traditions of whose clans have been destroyed. जिनका कुलधर्म नष्ट हो गया, वही सबका वहां सब जो जन्म लेते हैं उनका सब नरक में जाना पड़ेगा. This was one of them. But then actually, the idea of Kuladharma of Arjuna itself was not correct. Kuladharma is not just only the small little clan or the caste-based or a small society or anything. If Kuladharma is understood in a larger sense, meaning the whole of society, the whole of country, and all inclusive, then उसका तो दूसरी अर्थ निकलती है. So in that case, Kuladharma is what? How would be protected? Only when you ensure that adharma does not prevail. So he has to, wherever there is chances of adharma getting ascendancy, any person responsible for Kuladharma should fight and see to it that it is not destroyed. So rather allowing the Kauravas to win the war, and they would have indulged in Adharma only, even in Raj Sabha, if they can do like that, what are they would do once they win the war? So if you allowing them to win the war would only perpetuate the Adharma, and that is what would destroy the Kuladharma, not his not fighting the war. So his whole understanding of Kuladharma was totally wrong. And also, subsequently, Sri Krishna himself gives a definition of Naraka later in some other chapter. I think it is 16. Trividham Naraka, Trividham Narakasyedam Dwaram. There are three doors. What is that? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Tatha. Kama, Krodhas, Tatha, Lobhas, Tasmat, Etatrayam Trajet. Kama, Krodha, and Lobha, the greed, lust, and all those qualities, anger, these are the dwars of Naraka. Tasmat etatrayam tejet. So all these are to be given up, what he says. So that is important. So it is not by not fighting the war that they would go to Naraka. Rather, Naraka means you have to give up all these things if you want to really not go to a state of degeneration. So obviously, the Arjuna is completely in a very totally deluded and confused state of mind. Then he says, अहोबत महत्पापम कर्तुम व्यवसिता वयम यद्राज्य सुखलोभेन हंतुम स्वजनम उद्यता. Because what a great sin. Ahovata mahatpapam kartum vyavasitavayam. What a great sin we are about to commit. We are resolved to commit. Kartum vyavasitavayam. Why? Yat rajya sukhalobena. Just for the greed. Out of greed for the pleasure of kingdom. Hantum swajanam udyata. We have resolved to, we are prepared to destroy our kinsmen out of greed for the pleasure of kingdom. That was not at all the resolve. Again, he is wrongly advancing his cause. The main purpose of the war was to establish dharma and get back whatever is legitimately due for the Pandavas. इतना तक नहीं है, ऐसा कोई दृष्टांत स्थापना करना ताकि बाद में भी भविष्य में भी कोई अधर्म की आश्रय लेके धर्म के ऊपर कुछ नहीं चढ़ा दे. So that in future also the adharma never gains ascendancy over dharma. That was the purpose. It was not that because of the desire. It's not like Gajini and Ghori and some others coming attacking in those days. Alexander went and conquered all the world. It's not like that. It's not for the pleasure of the kingdom. It is just for the establishment of dharma. That's why Arjuna had resolved to fight. The Pandavas had resolved to fight. But somehow he seemed to have forgotten everything. And he's saying, no, look, Rajya Sukhalobhena, we are trying to kill everybody. So obviously, the disease has become very serious and deep-rooted, and probably some very serious remedy or medicines are called for. Then he says, he goes to this extent, Yadi mam apratikaram ashastram shastrapaneha Dhartarashtra rane hanyu tanme kshemataram bhavit. Even that is even kshema for me, well-being for me. What is that? Yadi mam apratikaram ashastram. If I give up all the shastras and astras and I don't protest or I don't take any action, apratikaram, that is unarmed and unresisting. Shastrapaneha dasrashtraha. The Dhritarashtra's sons with all arms and everything, Rane Hanyu, they kill me in this battle, then that may be Kshemataram Bhave, that may be even better for me. See, far better would it be if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, kill me, Hanyu, in battle, unarmed, unresisting. I will not put up any resistance, give up all arms, let them kill me. Doesn't matter, still that is better. He doesn't want to fight the battle, get killed as a Veer Purusha. No, he's ready to even throw up everything. Yes, because he is so much worried about the consequences and such a terrible delusion has overcome him. That is the condition which he finds himself. Then Sanjay says, Sanjay Uvacha, Evam Muktva Arjuna Sankhe Ratopas. See here, also here Arjuna talks about Shema, not Moksha. Shemataram Bhavit. He also knows that this will not lead to Moksha, but this may be his well-being. He is using the word Shemataram, not Mokshataram Bhavit. He is not saying that it will lead me to Moksha. It will liberate me. No. Yavaktvarjuna Sankhe Ratopasya Upabhishad Visrijya Sasharam Chapam Shokasham Vignamanasah. Yavam Uktvarjuna Sankhe. So saying, Arjuna, it is mind overwhelmed with sorrow. Ratopasya Upabhishad sat down on the chariot Visrijya Sasaram Chapam Shokasham Vignamanasah. With deep sorrow, he abandoned his bow and arrows. सब उन्होंने फेंक दिया. Then he was simply sitting on the Ratha, totally immersed in grief. Then, the first chapter ends. Says it is Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Sambhade Arjuna Vishad Yogo Nama Pratamodhyaya. So, it's the custom in those days, because there were nothing was available in print and all that. So how do you remember chapter by chapter? Whenever anything happened, they have to give something. It's called colophon. Normally in the Upanishads, they repeat either the last sloka or the last few words of the last sloka, so that that shows it is the ending. Here he is classifying each as a particular yoga, 18 yogas. Not only that, here he says Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam. It's comparing to the Upanishads. Because earlier also we saw Sarvopanishadu Gavo Dogdha Gopala Nandanaha. So as if all the Upanishads are cows and it's being milked. So the Sara, the essence of Upanishads, that is why Gita gets such a important place in our scriptures. Because anyone who wants to establish his philosophy has to write Bhashya on all the three called Prasthanatraya, Brahma Sutra, Upanishads, and Bhagavad Gita. Unless you write Bhashya on all these three, your philosophy will not be accepted as established. So this way Shankara, Ramacharya, Madhvacharya have all written on Bhashyas and Upanishads, Gita and the Brahma Sutra. So here it says, this is Upanishatsu, it's Brahma Vidya and it's Yoga Shastra. It gives you a complete way of life whereby you can reach the highest. And then Krishna Arjuna Samvada, through discussion, Samvada between Krishna Arjuna Samvada. And in the first chapter, it starts with what is called the Vishada Yoga. So, of course, one can explain, there can be a lot of philosophies, a lot of ideas can come, but unless one experiences a deep sorrow in the heart, one will not get access to the higher truths of life. आपका आध्यात्मिक जीवन में आगे चलना है, आगे बढ़ना है, तो आपको हृदय में वो तकलीफ अनुभव करना बहुत जरूरी है. Without experiencing tremendous sorrow in the heart, of course we constantly experience sorrow for most useless things in the world. That's okay. But spiritually, unless you are deeply moved by that deep discontent, sorrow, Vishada, that's why this chapter is so important and it is called Vishada Yoga. Through that, out of that, great clarity would emerge and Arjuna would he become truly enlightened at the end of it. He would not only agree to fight, he would also do many other things. So that's why it's called Vishada Yoga, which really is a gateway to this great scripture called Bhagavad Gita. So in the second chapter, Arjuna was so much overcome with pity for his kith and kin, etc. Krishna really gives him a strong dose of reprimand, saying that his attitude doesn't befit him, etc., etc. But Arjuna's sorrow and confusion were so deep rooted that they were not getting clarified very easily. It was not through one or two slokas. So he has to really continues in his attitude of self-pity. And finally, he completely surrenders to Sri Krishna's disciple, Shishasteham Shadimam Tam Prapannam. So he is seeking solace, instruction, protection, everything from Sri Krishna. Now in this, actually, if you kind of sum up the first chapter, it's really Arjuna's tremendous struggle for the very existence. उनका रहना, जिंदा रहना है बड़ी मुश्किल, ऐसे स्थिति में वो आ गया. He was being bombarded by forces, both external and internal. So on one hand the nature, on the other hand the environment. So these two, awareness of our life, its condition, where we are, is actually the first step to our going further. If you are totally unaware of where we are, what's happening to us, you cannot progress. So in this chapter, it's called Sankhya Yoga for a specific reason. Sankhya actually Sammak Khyanam. It's the wisdom of the great rishis regarding the nature of man and destiny. कैसे है, क्या हो रहा है, कहाँ जाएंगे, कैसे जाएंगे. So that's why it's called the Sankhya actually really deals with the nature of human beings and our destiny, and the wisdom regarding that is yoga, Sankhya Yoga. So as I said, it is Samyak Jnanam, living very well, knowing completely about this, the nature of man and destiny, etc. So actually, we'll also take a little more detailed explanation about this later. Now, Tantata Kripaya Vishtam, Ashrupurna Kulekshanam, Vishidantamidam Vakyam, Vacha Madhusudana. To him who was Kripaya Avishtam, somebody was overcome with pity, Ashrupurna Kulekshanam, his eyes full of tears, and Vishidantamidam, he was having a bewildered look, and Sri Krishna वाक्यम वाच मधुसूदन spoke as follows. उन्होंने देखा ये तो पूरी तरह ऐसे कोई स्थिति में आ गए हैं, उसका पहले तो ठीक करना है, otherwise the whole thing is going to end in a disaster. So it was a big crisis. So actually, not exactly a battlefield. In our lives also quite often we are facing such crises in our life. क्या करना, क्या नहीं करना, a decision ले लूँ या नहीं लूँ. So many times such critical decisions at the right time. Quite often nowadays, even for example in medical emergencies, somebody is very sick, the person is 85, 86 years old, actually everything has stopped, but then the nursing home will say we'll put him on ventilator. And ventilator में तो 1 माह 2 माह 3 माह रख देंगे, हर एक दिन 15-20-25 हज़ार का बिल. धर्म संकट. तो आप उसको रिमूव करें तो immediately has to be declared dead. Whether he will do that or he will not do it. कई बार फोन करते हैं कोई, महाराज क्या कर रहे, अरे देख लो, he is so old and there is no hope of this thing, why simply prolong his agony and you also unnecessarily be like that. But it's a very difficult decision. Can we take decision? अपना माता पिता कोई को नज़दीकी हो, उनका ऐसे अंत ला देना, drawing the curtain, so to say. So like that, there are so many important decisions in life. What to do, whether to live in a particular place, a particular person, a particular condition, in a particular office, particular society. Everywhere we face this kind of crisis. But putting all this together, developing that kind of awareness, kim karma kim karmetik avayopyatram huita. What is work, what is not work, what is karma, what is akarma. Even great enlightened people become deluded. Kavayopyatra mohita. So naturally, it's very important to understand life in a proper perspective, in larger dimensions. But often decisions we take in life, what should I do now? Should I do this or should I do that? Should I continue in the world or should I completely take to something else? What should be my pursuit? How should I shape my life? All that would depend upon our own clear understanding of nature of life, the surroundings, the environment, and my own. Is it not? There were instances like that uh, where the only child had come to join the monastery. Even great souls, they know he is spiritually inclined. डांट डांट के भगा दे, जाओ जाके तुम देखभाल करो, बाद में तुम्हारा सब होगा. हुआ भी. Later on, they became such great souls, obviously because of the blessings of the great people. But they know in the mind there is the confusion occurs. No, what should I do? Should I do this now? It looks very nice. Can I go forward? So you know what did Bhagavan say? Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupastitam anarjishtam asvargyam akirti karamarjuna. You know, he says, where from this Kasmanamidam Vishame Samupastitam. This loathsome stupidity come upon you in this crisis. Kutastva, kahan se aaya? Kasmanamidam Vishame Samupastitam. Anarja Jushtam Asvargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna. This is, unworthy of a noble personage. It is a bar to heaven and a cause of much disrepute. It is Akirtikara. It will bring disrepute to you. Is asvargya. It will not lead you to heaven. Anarya justa. It is unworthy of a great person from such noble lineage like you. No. In this, where from has this stupidity come upon you? So because those days there was always, the whole idea was after death people have to go to heaven. That was the destination for most of the people. But very small selected people, it was moksha or complete liberation. For all others, it was just heaven. He says, no, this will not lead you to heaven. To go to heaven, one has to do punya karmas, dharmika karmas, scripturally ordained duties, शास्त्र विहित कर्म सब करना है. बट आप तो स्वधर्म की विरुद्ध कर रहे हैं. You are going against your swadharma. So, first, that's why, somewhere it is said that the first, it's kind of, in the second chapter, Bhagavan makes a kind of threefold approach. First, he tells him in very strong language what he should do. As he's seeing that by giving a big jolt, whether Arjuna really comes around. That was his first effort. Straight away he tells him, this is what you are, why are you doing like this? Then what is the next step? Next he saw whether he can really, he found that it's not enough if you just give him one big jolt. He has to be very clearly, systematically expounded and explained what is the nature of life, nature of soul. You are that. Nainam chindanti sastrani, nainam dahati pavaka. All those things will come slowly. So, it is not that it cannot be the nature of soul. Actually, it is Atman, it is permanent, it is indestructible. What are you grieving for? So, in a series of slokas, Sri Krishna tries to explain to him the very nature of existence and how it cannot be destroyed. The death, birth, etc., they're all just like journeys which one undertakes. It's part and parcel of every life, whether now or later, today or tomorrow, it's all going to happen to everybody. So one should not unnecessarily worry about life and death and all that. Everything you were explain in great detail how the soul takes new bodies. Asang se jirnani tavihaya navani grinnadi naroparani. Huh? So like that it happens. So then it's not enough if you philosophize. Then I think towards the some slokas he clearly says how he should perform. The knowledge that is imparted, how that can be converted into action, yoga. So all these three are in this chapter, but he begins with a very strong dosage, telling him very strongly as to what he should do and why he is behaving like this, expressing great surprise and giving him sometimes, no, boy, जोर से एक झटका दे दे तो निकाल जाएगा. So he's probably trying the first 1 year. Then he says, Klaibyam asmagama partha naitattvai upapadyate Shudram hridor balyam tyakto tishta parantap. Swamiji in some places is the most important sloka in the whole of Bhagavad Gita according to Swamiji. This gives completely, the whole idea. He says this is perhaps the central to the whole of Bhagavad Gita according to Swamiji. So, uh, the, the idea where Klaibyam Masma Gama Partha. O Partha, do not lead to unmanliness, Klaibya. Don't become a weakling, don't become a worthless person. Na etat tvai upapadyate. It does not befit you. Remember your glory. Single-handedly you had fought all the great Kauravas in the Virata Parva. When in the earlier occasion, when all their cattle were being confiscated and driven away, you are the person who went and rescued them. And you are so valorous as to fight with Shiva himself. You took up the arms. Of course, ultimately Shiva graced you, blessed you, and gave you Pashupasatra and all that. But you had the courage even to go and fight with Shiva. What has happened to you? Why have you become unmanly? This doesn't befit you. And then Chudram Hridayador Balyam Tyaktva. Tyaktva Uttishta Parantapa. Parantapa. O scorcher of enemies. You burn your enemies. You are you are you are a dreaded hero. People are terribly afraid of you. You are a Parantapa. Uttishta. Get up. Shudram Hridayador Balyam Tyaktva. Giving up this, mean, small, faint-heartedness, Shudra, base faint-heartedness. Get up, oh great hero. Get up to fight. So he says, as long as, this is actually the gospel of spiritual strength, and it is based on the immortality of Atman. The Atman never dies. Atman is eternal. So, this is the essence of a human being. As long as we feel that we are the body and we are the mind and we are conditioned to be all that, there's always, the fear and sorrow and apprehension, insecurity, all that. But then, when one stands up in real strength, shaking off all fear and sorrow, when the sense of individuality is shifted from the body to the spirit, and then, one really performs. So this verse possesses the practical consequences of accepting the doctrine of Atman. So in the succeeding verses it will come. So obviously, wherever you find achievement, everywhere, because people have to some extent or other given up this idea, the bondages due to body restricts. There are people for every little thing we want support. Oh this, oh that, this doctor, that doctor, medicine, for every little thing. Then nothing happens. The people, how under great adversity, how it's all possible because somewhere the idea that I am not the body. It is a tremendous effort to overcome them. Some of our Swamis saw in Amarnath. Amarnath is very difficult to cross even by foot. Many people take this either horse और वो जो पालकी या कुछ ले लेते हैं. तो साधु लोग तो साधारण तो पैदल भी जाते हैं. जैसे देखा एक आदमी जा रहा है, उसका 2 पैर भी नहीं है. Both his feet are not there, on crutches is crossing. किसी ने पूछा, अब क्या बात है? मैं तो हर साल आता हूँ, शिव जी बुलाते हैं. So, somewhere a little higher understanding. Otherwise, who would dare to cross? Even in normal plains, you cannot walk without feet. With the crutches means always is a risk of falling and you need support and this and that. How people, the moment there, it will always, little pain means we see always in the airport, immediately they put on bandage and they take wheelchair, because wheelchair means you can go quickly. You don't have to stand in the queue. So you are always put up first. How many of those wheelchair patients are really wheelchair also? Sometimes you find a little doubtful like that. So, that means completely giving in to the idea of the body. Yes, where it is necessary, if you cannot stand up, you need a support. But where it is truly necessary, how far we can overcome, how, unless one has the trend of this thing, it's difficult to achieve. All of us must have seen in the papers or news how in the Para Olympics, a girl with no legs, with no hands, both hands are not there, with foot shooting in the archery and getting 3 or 4 gold medals. One after another, she is scoring all 10 at the center of the circle. She is shooting. People with their other paramedical para Olympic athletes, they are पैर में कुछ दिक्कत था, हाथ से सब शूट कर रहे थे. For them it was going outside. For her every arrow was landing at the center. How it is possible? Can anyone even ever think of taking up archery? क्योंकि आपकी आर्चरी में पहले तो चाहिए हाथ, उसी तो शुरुआत है. Can anyone even imagine that I will become an archer without legs? What tremendous courage, conviction, and the awareness of the inner strength. All this come from the higher idea only. See, all people may not have read the Swamiji or may not have read Upanishads. But if you understand somewhere or other, they have understood that we are boundless, we are infinite. Nothing can stop us, nothing can hold us back. All these ideas come only from a spiritual attitude. But if you know all that, if you have the background, it's easier for you to practice these values, practice. Otherwise, somewhere you meet some failure and you are totally depressed. You totally give up. You totally become broken, shattered. But if you have the background, why it is so, then you know what it is. Then that gives you a bigger, better scope and awareness to really fight, to take it up and do something very, very worthwhile. And everywhere you will see, wherever, that's why even in Gita, it says, wherever you see any excellence, specific, Mama Tejomsha. Mama is some angsha of me, some part of me, some hint of me is there, you understand. Thakur himself says, whenever you see so many people admiring someone and worshipping someone, or there is something special, God given, God gifted, or something like that in that person. That's what Sri Ramakrishna himself says. So he was only trying to rouse Arjuna, give up this weak heartedness. Hridaya Dorbalyam. What is this faint heartedness? You are a great warrior. Get up, fight. Remember your nature, etc. Again, Arjuna repeats the same story, what he had said earlier. Now he gives more names, more examples. He says, Arjuna watch. Katam Bhishmamaham Sankye Dronancha Madhusudana Ishubhi Pratyosyami Pujarha Varisudana. So first, Sri Krishna gave a very strong dose. से भी नहीं हिला अर्जुन. उन्होंने सोचा ऐसे बोल दो तो तुरंत युद्ध शुरू कर देगा. But he did not. Rather, again he started arguing. Then he says, Katam Bhishmam Aham Sankye Dronancha Madhusudana. Madhusudana, O Krishna, how can I take Bhishma and Drona? Bhishma Aham Sankye Dronancha. How can I attack Bhishma and Drona in this battle, in this Sankhya? And then Ishivi Pratyosyami Pujarha Arisudana. How shall I attack these two who are worthy of puja as enemies? As I cannot, conceive of them. You are a destroyer of foes, Arisudana. But then, how can I treat them as enemies and attack them with or arrow? They are indeed puja arha. They are worthy of worship. Because one was my teacher, the other was a person whom I know for his great qualities, an extraordinary individual. How can I really attack them like that? Then he goes on. Guru hatva hi mahan bhavan श्रेयो भोक्तुम वैक्ष्यम अपी है लोग. वो साधु के साथ लाइन लगाना चाहते, मैं भिक्षा मांग के खा लो। अरे तुम कैसे करोगे, तुम राजकुमार है। गुरु न हत्वा ही महानुभावान श्रेयो भोक्तुम भक्ष्यम अपीह लोके हत्वार्थ कामांस गुरु निहेव भुंजीय भोगान रुधिर प्रतिक्ता। It's better to live in this world, Shreyo, Bhoktum, Api Iha Loka, in this Loka. What is Shreya? Bhaikshyam Bhoktum. By just living on alms is far better than killing these kind of gurus and Mahanabhavas. Instead of killing all them, it's better to live on alms in this world. What do we get by killing them? Hatvan artha kamansu. That is, this is the enjoyment of pleasure and power. Bhogan, rudhira pratikdan, will be blood-stained. The bhoga, after obtained through the slaughter of these teachers and elders, atvartha kamas guru nihaiva, bunjiva bhogan, rudhira pratikdan. So, after killing all these people, whatever enjoyment you get, it will be actually blood-stained, rudhira pratikdan. I cannot really imagine how can I kill my own guru, my own acharyas, and then afterwards enjoy the kingdom. So, he is always only thinking in his own, from an individual standpoint. Arjuna as an individual, can I kill? Maybe supposing, in peace times, somebody might have come from Pakistan army. You would have entertained him in your house, you would have fed him. दीपावली किसमें आया, बहुत कुछ खिलाया, बहुत हो सकता है. बट काल युद्ध के समय देख रहे हैं, दे आर ऑन द अदर साइड. कैन यू से अरे मेरे तो मित्र हैं, मेरे साथ दिवाली मनाया, कैसे उसके cannot, because there's a bigger cause, bigger purpose, there's a bigger justification to establish dharma, to protect the citizens, प्रजा की रक्षा के लिए, धर्म की रक्षा करने के लिए. Because the protection of dharma gets the highest priority in our shastras, more than atma raksha. Rather than one can even give oneself up in the battle. More than atma raksha is dharma raksha. Protecting dharma is so important. One can even get killed, and one can even break rules for the sake of upholding dharma at that time. Somebody is, they always cite this example. Someone has come and is being chased. An innocent person is being chased by a band of thieves or robbers or something. So it's an ashrama. You come, that person has come and taken shelter. So the thieves come, they're simply asking the rishi, is anyone there? So in that apatkal mein, it's better you can even to save someone's life. When it is justified, when it is based on dharma, you can even say, no, sahi yahan nahi hai. Because, these people are wrongly trying to kill somebody. So in an attempt to protect dharma, one can even resort to adharma. Then also you would not have deviated from dharma. That's what the Shastra says. So here he is thinking, by killing all these people, the bhoga, the enjoyment that I am going to get is going to be stained with blood. Should I opt for it? Is it proper? Is it necessary? And then, Nachaitat vidma kataranno gariyo, edva jayem ediva jayeyuhu, janeva hatvana jijiv shamaha, tevastita pramake dhartarashra. Who will be better? Which will be better? Whether we conquer them or they conquer us. ये उनका संदेह आ गया. क्योंकि जैसे भी होगा, बहुत सारे स्वजन कुटुंब सब मरी जाएंगे. This way he says, Yadva jayem yadiva no jayu. Whether we are going to win, whether they are going to win. What is the choice? We do not know. The men on the side of Dhritarashtra, Janev Hatwana Jijivshamha Tevasita Pramuke Dhartrashtra. The men inside of Dhartrashtra are the very people after killing him we should not care to live. आपके सब स्वजन कुटुंब सब मरी जाए. All your relatives, elders, they're all gone. What will you live for? They're all they are all standing on the other side, ready to fight. So after killing them, should we live beyond that? So what a difficult situation we are in. So whether we win or whether they win, the result is going to be same. So many of the relatives and close people, people worthy of respect, etc., are all going to get destroyed. Is it really worthy at the end of the day? So he's asking, Karpanya dosho, dosha, then dosho bhata swava, prichami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. I'm asking you, I'm completely deluded, confused. Dharma sammudha cheta. My mind is completely deluded as far as dharma is concerned. Prichami, that's why I'm asking. Huh? So, karpanya dosho bhata swabhava. Natural disposition by a sense of, been overcome by a sense of pity, karpanya dosha. My swabhava has been overwhelmed, completely taken over by this karpanya dosha. Yes, Shreyasya nishitam bruhitanmi, sishyasteham shadhimam tvam prabha. What is really Shreya for me? That which will lead to my good. Here he is talking about Shreyas, that which will lead to the highest good. Yes, Shreya syat, निश्चितम ब्रूहितम. Tell me clearly, मेरा क्या श्रेय है, सचमुच बता दो. क्यों? शिष्यस्ते हम शाधि माम त्वम प्रपन्नम. I am a disciple, so I have taken Mam Tvam Prapannam, I have taken Sharanagata in you. I have surrendered to you. I am completely under you. So you must give me the correct picture. You must tell me with certainty what I should do. मेरा बोल दो क्योंकि I am not able to decide one way or other. I am completely deluded. See, I am having a dharma sammuda. My mind is totally confused as far as dharma is concerned, what I should do. I am in a state of delusion. Then, nahi prapasyami mamapanudyat yachokumuchoshanamindriyanam avapya bhuma nasapatnamriddham rajyam suranam apichadhipatyam. I do not find nahi prapashyami mamapanudhyat et shokam uchchosham indriyana. Uchchoshanam indriyana. See, which it completely numbs my senses. This grief. See, he is not able to hold the Gandiva. So he has thrown it aside. His hands are shaking. How can I take aim if my hands are shaking? So my limbs are getting, numb by this terrible grief. I find nothing. I do not find anything that can assuage this grief. Nahi prapashyami. I do not see anything that will assuage his grief. So, avapya bhuma vasapatna mriddham rajyam suranam apichadhipatyam. Neither the adhipatya suranam api cha adhipatya suranam rajyam api cha adhipatyam. Even the unchallenged lordship or a prosperous kingdom, not even the lordship of all the devatas, Surana, then I can do so. This grief cannot be assuaged even if I get a huge kingdom, a most prosperous kingdom. I have lordship over that. Even if the lordship over all the devatas, Suranam api chadipatyam. Sura means devatas. Even if I have great, over the lordship over all the devatas, and even devas actually, not devatas, all the devas, even that I find will not give this grief. Because after that also, constantly I'll be thinking of this. I'll be constantly, this sense of guilt. I've killed my acharyas. I have killed people worthy of respect. What for I did? Is it for this enjoyment? So all my life I'll be regretting. I will never get any satisfaction. I cannot ever enjoy this kingdom. Even if you bring me such prosperous kingdoms, or even if I am given lordship over all the devas, still I don't think this grief will go. So it'll always be there. It won't end here. It has started just now. Let me fight, even if you fight, even if I kill all of them and win, still it will not go. So that's why he's asking, I'm a Sishya, I've taken shelter under you. See, that's what people, all of us get into problems, difficulties. Arjuna was liberated because he sought advice from the right person. That's what normally we go to the wrong person to seek advice. And they misguide us. And that becomes more complicated. We suffer all the more. And we always go to such people who will tell what is pleasurable to us. अर्जुन को तो कृष्णा उनका कोई मनमाफिक कुछ नहीं बताया. What was pleasing to Arjuna, he never said. He only scolded. He told him again and again, what you're doing is wrong. This is not the thing. What is the right thing? How we should go about. It was very, very clear. But normally, if you also go to such a person, if you also see, then you'll get unfailing wisdom, unfailing help. That will liberate you. What is that? That is why we should seek spiritual solution to problems. Believe in God, believe in a superior entity, believe in the higher nature of life, higher nature of a human existence. So if you seek a solution always in that direction, and not only purely at the existential level, you'll always get the right solution. Always at the rupiah na paisa, in that material level, and for the sake of convenience, we seek such help, such advice, take such decisions, you'll always end up as losers. So Sri Krishna did not tell him कुछ ऐसा कुछ कौशल नहीं बताया है, ये सब लोग को बांध के अलग रख दो, बाकी लोग को मार दो. He did not give any such solution. He said, you do not have to kill your Drona and Bhishma. उनका दोनों का कोई रस्सी से बांध लो, बाण से, then you keep them aside, kill the rest. No, he did not give such solution. He did not give any worldly solution. He made him completely understand that you are asochan anasochan pragyavadam savashati. A thing which is not to be grieved for. Like a very wise person you are arguing, no. Only he made him clearly understand the nature of life. What is life? How one is immortal? How death and birth, etc., are just, like in a pravaha that keep on happening again and again. Jatasya hi dhruv mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya. Tasmat apariharyati natvam shochitmarasi. You're something which cannot be avoided. Why are you grieving for? The one who is born is going to die, and one is going to die is going to be born. That is dhruva. That is sure, certain. If that be so, why should you worry? There is an occasion where you have to discharge your duties, realize who you are. Go ahead. So, he only gave him the highest idea of Brahmajnana. And through that, he made him understand. So, although Arjuna went and asked him about an existential problem, हम सबको भी जीवन में ऐसी शुरुआत होती है ना. Some existential problem comes before us. So if you try to solve it at the existential level only, even if the solution you get it, sometime again it will appear in some other form. But because he gave him a permanent solution, a spiritual solution, so the problem was solved once and for all. No more it recurred again. There is no recurring of that. Permanent treatment, permanent solution. So that is important. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.